Well, that could have been a lot worse. Not much, but it still could have been worse. Tyler Mroz, Heat Ratio Sports, Phillies post-game show. A stinker today. 10-0. A loss to the Houston Astros. Man, what a terrible game. Players of the game, both Astros. Spencer Arrighetti, 7 2/3, just 2 hits. Both came in the 8th inning. 11 strikeouts. Mentioned how he had 36 in the month of August. Well, now he has 47. So a really good month for Spencer Arrighetti, especially on the strikeout side. And then Yordan Alvarez, the Astros DH, 4 for 4 with not one, not two, but 3 home runs and 4 RBIs. 2 of them were dead center field. One of them was an Oppo Taco that just barely got out, but this loss would have been way worse if the Phillies had lost one of the other games, but thankfully they won the previous 2 games. And see the headline. It's the worst Walker Wednesday ever. That was the first key of the game because I said the main keys to the game, the only key to the game that matters when a Taijuan Walker game is happening is how Taijuan Walker does. And this was definitely his worst start of the season, which is saying something. A guy who had a 6.23 ERA coming into this game, and he had his worst game of the year. 6 innings, which is, 6 innings. At least he's going deep. He's eating innings. A career high, 13 hits given up, 6 runs, 5 of which came in, fourth inning? The 4th inning. Is Walker out of town yet? Not yet, Adam, but I sure hope so. This is no credit to Taijuan Walker as a this is no discouraging Taijuan Walker as a person at all. I'm sure he's a good guy. But as a player, you cannot be having a 13-hit, 6-run game in the end of August. You should not be in a World Series contending team starting rotation. That is unacceptable. It really is. I've said it his last start. I said it at the start. I gave him some slack in the first start because it was his first game back in a couple months. His second start, I was like, okay, this is still not promising, but, it's his second game off of injuries. I mean, he's had a terrible year, but, he's still getting used to it. These past 2 starts, just unacceptable. That's a good question, Adam. I would love to know that answer. What happened to the offense today? No hit through 7 innings. No runs in the entire game. Kyle Schwarber struck out 3 times. Who else? What else do we got? What other bad stat lines do we have? Trey Turner and Austin Hayes were the only ones to get hits, and those came in the 8th inning. Austin Hayes got an infield single, just barely beat out a play that could have been made by Alex Bregman. Quite frankly, it kind of should have been just a little bit out of his reach. If he had gotten that, he would have been out. Probably would have been no hit. And then Trey Turner, the only out of the infield hit of the day for the Phillies. So, yeah. Oh my goodness, what an abysmal game. It's not like the typical Taijuan Walker games where he gives up 6 runs and the offense does decent. It's just not enough. But everything wasn't going well today. Yordan Alvarez hit 3 home runs, and that was one of the keys. You had to limit the home runs because the Astros are a contact hitting team. They are a team that will beat you if they start hitting home runs, and they hit 4 today. 3 from Yordan Alvarez, all in different locations. Yordan, his first one, opposite field, just barely got out. His second one went into the Phillies bullpen, and his next one went into the Ivy. And then Chas McCormick, who's had a pretty bad second half for the Astros, he pinch hits and goes yard off of Michael Mercado. They were ran out of runs since they scored all of them the last 3 days. That's honestly the truth. That's what happens with the Phillies. They go in. They're a very inconsistent team. You saw it in these past couple of postseasons. They will get really hot and score all these runs, and then they go dead. And that's the thing you have with this team. This team, they feed off of each other. So if one person isn't doing well, then majority of the team, especially Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper went cold in that World Series after Game 3. And the rest of the team did as well. So, and this year, Bryce Harper went cold. That's when the Phillies started going on this big, huge losing streak. So, it's really just a matter of consistency. And I honestly think it's all up to Bryce Harper, because if he's doing well, the rest of the team's doing well. If he's not doing well, the rest of the team is not doing so well. Guess they won the series and then looked ahead to the Braves. I mean, that's what you get when you start Taijuan Walker. You're kind of accepting that it's okay if we don't win today. Same thing. I mean, people like to hate on Garrett Stubbs. I mean, JT Realmuto is still coming off of an injury, but I mean, it's not even a burden. He used to be at like earlier in the year. People would be like, "Oh, we're throwing Garrett Stubbs in there. I guess Phillies don't care if they want to win." It's not that. It's a matter of if Taijuan Walker is in this rotation. I know we keep talking about him, but I mean, he's really the main reason as to why the Phillies lost. Not the main reason why the Phillies lost this game. Nothing was going right, but I mean, they've lost the last 9 games he started. So I just don't see how Rob Thompson can confidently say he sees something in him, because his velocity isn't there. He doesn't have any control, and his body language, you can just tell he's not. I don't know if he doesn't care. I'm sure he cares. I mean, he's getting his money either way. So we'll get more into Taijuan Walker later. David, how you doing, man? Checking in from Cedar Hill, Texas. That's awesome, man. Heat Ratio Sports. Going global? Maybe. But let's see how we did for today's triple play. So at least we hit one. The streak continues, and it was Taijuan Walker getting the under on 2.5 strikeouts. I saw this tweet. Credit to Paul Casella on Twitter. Prior to Taijuan Walker, the 2 most recent Philly pitchers to allow 13-plus hits and not record a single strikeout. Blix Donnelly in 1948. And then before that was Boom Boom Beck in 1943. So, prior to Taijuan Walker, the most recent pitcher to allow 13 hits and not get a single strikeout, Blix Donnelly in 1948. That's abysmal. So again, credit to Paul Casella. That's an insane stat, and that's not a good stat. Can we please just cut him? I hope so. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they can. I think they're gonna wait till the offseason to try and outload him to another team. Maybe they're gonna throw in a prospect, or like just give us some cash, like pay off even like $5 million. I think the Phillies would do that. I just don't know what they do with him for the rest of the season, because at this point there's no question he cannot he cannot start in a game. I don't even know if you can have him in the bullpen. His first 4 innings his first 3 innings, were pretty good. The first run was not his fault. I mean, he gave up the hit to Jose Altuve, but he just kept throwing it back to first, and then Bryce Harper should have been paying attention, was kind of lazy with that. Jose Altuve heads up base running, but I just don't see how he starts a game. He's definitely not going to be on the postseason roster. Didn't even pitch in the postseason last year, where he was at least a serviceable pitcher. He was a really good number 4, 5 in the rotation for the Phillies, but you see how he did there. They didn't even pitch him, which is saying something. Michael Lorenzen even came in the pitch. Christopher Sanchez started the game. I think there's no way. If he was at least winning games last year, he is doing absolutely nothing except losing and giving up runs and giving up hits. That's the argument people had last year. At least he's winning games. At least the Phillies are winning the games he's pitching in. They have lost 9 in a row. They have lost 9 consecutive Taijuan Walker starts. What is he doing at that point? It's not like it's close game where he's giving up 2 runs. He's giving up 4 to 6 runs every time. There's no reason. Yeah, he couldn't even make our play. Yeah. He was on the playoff roster last season, but he just didn't pitch. And I think that's a testament. If Rob Thompson wasn't going to pitch him in last postseason, there is a 0% chance that he pitches this postseason. There's 0%. I don't want to say zero. Never say never, but there is high doubts that he's even on this team by tomorrow. I don't even know who you would call up. Jose Alvarado, still in the minor, or still not in the minor leagues. He's away from the team. They brought up Michael Mercado. He came in right after Walker. I predicted that. He gave up 4 runs as well. Not impressed with Michael Mercado. I would honestly maybe try Mick Abel. Michael Mercado has just not looked good after his first game. Looked really good his first game, and then after that, just was not that good. David, I hope Walker proves the Phillies wrong. He pitches a great game, has a talent, but does he still have the grit to get it done? I hope Topper has a short leash on him. I 100% agree. I mean, we're bad-mouthing him a lot on here right now. Obviously, we want him to do well. He's a Philly. We want every person on the Phillies to play at the best game that they possibly can. And as baseball fans in general, you want to see players do well. And Taijuan Walker's a former All-Star. The Phillies brought him in last year to be a good 4th, 5th guy in the rotation. And he was that last year, but the fall off this year is just unbelievable. But I don't know if he's going to even pitch his next game because of how bad he was today. Topper said last game that he was impressed by his velocity, and there were some things that he thought Walker did well. I don't know if that's just is that a real thing? Like, does he actually believe that, or is he just throwing it out there to make it seem like he has his back? Like, because he looked like he has his back. Topper is a player's coach, so I do think it's a short leash now. I just don't see how the Phillies keep him after this. Walker's release is bad. He's doing and when he came off the injured list, the Phillies said that he figured out his splitter problem because he was giving up a lot of home runs and hits off of that. But I believe I saw before, like, opponents are hitting over 300 on his splitter. Sweeper was like 144. So I don't know why he's not throwing that more, but don't say 0, make it negative 100%. Yeah, right. How far is Turnbull from coming back? I believe they're starting to throw him, but Rob Thompson wants to be extra cautious. They said they don't want to aggravate anything. I would be shocked if Turnbull came back. I would say probably mid to late September would be my guess if he does come back, because the way Rob Thompson's speaking, it's making it seem like it could be very easy to get him injured again. So I think Rob wants to take it easy. He's going to take as much time as he can get. So I would say like mid to late September if he comes back at all. And he's already confirmed he's going to the bullpen. So I guess the Phillies will keep Michael Mercado up until either he or Jose Alvarado gets back, because those are two crucial guys in your bullpen that you don't even know if they're going to be back for not just the regular season, but the postseason as well. Checking in from Chicago, Illinois. How you doing, Stephanie? That's awesome, man. Got people from Texas. We got people from Chicago. That's awesome. That's pretty sick news to hear. But HRS triple play. We hit one today. Over 10 total runs. It was 10. We did not hit the over. So I wonder how that worked, because the over under was 10. It wasn't 9.5. It wasn't 10.5. It was 10. So, like, dude, I don't know how that works. Maybe is this Vegas? Because they were both at even odds. So is this Vegas just rigging it? It was 10. 10 was the line. It wasn't 9.5. It wasn't 10.5. It was 10. And they had 10 total runs because the Phillies didn't score any. Astros got 10. So how does that work? Does anybody know how that works? I'm genuinely curious. I really don't know how that plays out for anybody that actually bet that. Do they get their money back? I doubt they get their money back. But like, if the line is 10 and they score exactly 10, what does that count for? Because there's no option to saying 10 runs. It's over 10 or under 10. So if anybody knows how that works, please write that down in the comments and let me know. I would love to hear how that all plays out. Kyle Schwarber, 2+ total bases. He went 0 for, struck out 3 times. I believe he walked once. And then, we hit the Taijuan Walker under 2.5 strikeouts at +130. The bonus bet did not hit. Garrett Stubbs, home run, +1,000. Bet $10. That would have won you $100. Pretty nice, but he went 0 for 3 today. Shout out to Weston Wilson because Garrett Stubbs was catching, so Rob Thompson couldn't throw him in. So fresh off becoming a dad, Weston Wilson comes in, gives up 1 hit, a scoreless inning. So is Weston Wilson a better pitcher than Taijuan Walker? No, obviously not. But the stat, I mean, I don't even know if I would put it past that. I mean, you can't say a position player is better than a starting pitcher, but oh my goodness, what a game. Again, use your code HEAT, go to Win Daily, get 50% off for all the best bets. We use the Win Daily method here on Heat Ratio Sports for all these bets, and we've been hitting them. Hit 1 today, hit 2 yesterday, I believe, we hit 3. Tony hit 3. So we were on a 3-day, I don't even know. The triple play hit 3 days in a row. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I overcomplicate things. But, yep. So, again, use your code HEAT. Oh, my goodness. Let me get a drink of water. This Taijuan Walker's got me in shambles. Use your code HEAT at Win Daily. Get 50% off all your best bets. And this is the final Taijuan Walker start. I said that last time. I really thought it was going to be his last start against Kansas City. But Rob Thompson disagreed, put him out there today. I'm glad it was today and not tomorrow because I would rather lose the game today and win game 1 against Atlanta, or at least have a competent chance with Christopher Sanchez. High pitchers are better than Walker. Oh my goodness. Position players. Weston Wilson, Garrett Stubbs. I wonder what Garrett Stubbs' ERA is. Can I check that? Does Pro Baseball Reference have this? I want to see Garrett, because he came in a lot when they were losing those games. Like, I feel like every 4 games was Garrett Stubbs pitching. I think there was a stat. It was like, 4 of the last 15 games at one point, Garrett Stubbs came in and was pitching. Batting. Here we go. Standard pitching. 2024. 3 games, 3 innings pitched. 7 runs. So he has where's the ERA? He has a 21 ERA this season. So is Weston Wilson the new guy for Phillies and blowouts? We should not be asking that question. Hopefully this is the last time for the rest of the season that the Phillies have to do that. It's happened too many times. Glad Walker gets the start. I was glad he got the start today compared to tomorrow because, like I mentioned, I would rather the Phillies won the previous 2. They're on a 4-game winning streak. You never want to say, oh, it's okay if we lose this one. But I guess sometimes in baseball, you have to say that when you're in a situation like this. You're like, we'd rather have a loss against the Astros or we'd rather have a loss against the Braves. Now, no matter what, you always would rather have a win. But if you had to pick one, you'd rather have a loss against the team from a different league. They're in the Astros in the American League. Braves are a divisional rival that's 5.5 games back at this point. They're 5 games back. If they win in Minnesota tonight, they play at 7:40. If they win, they get the sweep. What the heck, Whit Merrifield? The other night, Whit Merrifield, a 5-hit game. Like, are you kidding me? The Phillies brought Whit Merrifield in to be what he's doing right now for the Braves. And Whit Merrifield was batting 199 with the Phillies. And he had that post-game quote, oh, it just feels good. A team tells you you're not good enough to play for them. Well, when you are batting 199 on a World Series contending team and you don't even play that much, no, that's not good enough to be on the bench guy. And they brought up Weston Wilson, and Weston Wilson is doing awesome. So, I mean, it was still the right move. I don't think the Phillies regret it either. Weston Wilson has emerged, hit for the cycle. He's been really good for the Phillies. And I mean, just sometimes situational stuff doesn't work out. So one player could be terrible somewhere else, and then he goes somewhere else, and then they're on fire, which happened with Merrifield. And then the Dodgers play the Orioles at 10:10 tonight. I'm not sure the Brewers. I don't think Walker will pitch against the Braves. Yeah, he's not going to. He was supposed to pitch tomorrow, but Rob made the switch, so Sanchez is pitching on tomorrow. He's pitching tomorrow. Walker's pitching today. So I'm assuming the Braves will see Sanchez and some kind of combination. Sanchez, Suarez, Wheeler, Nola. I believe that would be the 4. And then who do the Phillies have after that? I haven't looked that far. I know it's not the Rays. The Rays are next week. Who do the Phillies have after the Braves? 4-game series, huge. Throwback Thursday. We'll have the throwback moment of the day. I'll have my throwback jerseys on. I'll be wearing my throwback jersey. After the Braves, Phillies going on a little road trip at the Blue Jays for 2 games, and then 4 games at the Marlins. What's up with all these 4-game series? They had a 4-game series against the Nationals last week, a 4-game series this week against the Braves, and they have one next week against the Miami Marlins. In Miami, I'm sure those tickets are going to be cheap because I went to college in Orlando from 2022 to May of this year. So anytime the Phillies would play in Miami, it's like a 4-hour drive, so it's never close enough. But I always look at tickets, and to get front row in right field in Philly right now, that's over $100, maybe even pushing 2. In Miami, it was literally, I swear to you, like $15 on SeatGeek. It was insanely cheap. And then Tampa, I got tickets the 4th of July weekend last year. Phillies were in Tampa. I was like, oh, perfect. Tampa's like, oh, let me rephrase this. Tampa from Orlando is about an hour and a half to an hour 45. But you were traveling down I-4, the worst major highway in not just America, but in the world. And the Rays don't play in Tampa Bay. They play in St. Pete. So once you get to Tampa, you're still about a half hour away. And when you get to Tampa, that's when you hit an extra 30 minutes of traffic. So in reality, it takes about like 2.5 hours. And I went to the Royal Rumble in January in Tampa, and it was like a 3-hour drive. But off topic, I was going to the game. I got really cheap tickets, and my car broke down on the way there, so I didn't end up going there. Yeah, shout out the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting at Full Sail University. Graduated from there in May. Best program ever. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for all my instructors and program directors. Shout out Gus Ramsey and Dan Patrick. Would not be here without them and all my instructors. So shout out to them. Orioles all the way. I do like the Orioles. The Orioles are my second favorite. Like, I always had a backup team. Like, well, okay, if suddenly the Phillies fell off the face of the earth, I would root for the Orioles. It used to be the Rockies because I played for the Rockies. And then the next year I was the Yankees, but I was like, I can't ever root for the Yankees. But yeah, I've always had a soft spot for the Orioles. Big Ripken fan. Love Manny Machado. I had a Manny Machado Orioles shirt. And somewhere in this house, I have a Manny Machado Orioles gnome. I think it's broken. I gotta super glue that. Can't believe Jorge Mateo. Oh, is he? I don't think he was doing too well for the Orioles. Off the top of my head, I could be wrong. I went to an Orioles game when I came back. I moved back up here. Shout out Andres. We saw them play the Guardians. It was a very good game. We got really close seats for really cheap. So, yeah. Who won that game? Cleveland won. Hurston Kjerstad almost hit a grand slam. We were calling that out for most of the game because his batting average was pretty abysmal before that game. He got a hit, and then the bases loaded later in the game, and we're like, oh my gosh. We said he was going to hit a grand slam earlier in the game, and now he has a chance to. But it was a long at-bat, too. I kept recording it. The at-bat was well over 5 minutes long. It was pretty crazy. Jorge Mateo for the Orioles this year, 229 average, 267 on base, 5 home runs, 18 RBIs. Not the greatest season for him, but, I mean, it's never good news that someone gets hurt, but good news for Jackson Holliday. They can start playing him more. He's been a lot better. Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you always tuning in, always interacting. Hopefully I can keep this up and keep doing a good job. I like trying new things. Like on this one, it was a blowout. So I'm kind of just rambling about different stuff. I was talking about how long it takes from Orlando to Tampa Bay. So trying new things. I'm getting more comfortable using this program and speaking on here without a script because I have notes for the pregame. These are all my notes for the pregame and all that. But yeah, on here I have the banners that are pretty much my notes, and I just go off of what I know off the top of my head and have like tabs open, but I don't really go in here. I like keeping it on this app. So appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, I can't catch a break. Did he get hurt recently? Or I think he was on the injury list earlier. Let's see how many games he's played. Last year, 116. The year before that, 150. Year before that, 89. So yeah, not the best injury. Yeah, 68 this season. That's tough. That's a shame. You never want to see anybody in baseball go down. You know what? Let's keep going. What else can we talk about? I'm on a roll here. Jamar Chase. Yeah. He was my number one avoid for fantasy football. I'm not a big Jamar Chase guy for fantasy. I think he's a top tier wide receiver in this league. He's just inconsistent in fantasy football. He's boomer bust, and I don't like having boomer bust guys. Maybe this is why my teams aren't that successful. I don't go for boomer bust guys. I go for balanced. Balanced, no boomer bust people, no positional heavy. But yeah, Jamar Chase. Zach Taylor said he was going to start practicing again with them and he would be available for week 1 because Jamar Chase has, 2 years left on his contract and he wants an extension. He's not going to potentially, allegedly, I'm not going to get sued. I don't want any issues. Jamar Chase allegedly, it's being reported that he is not going to play unless he gets a new contract. Chad Ochocinco said he doesn't think he would play. And then he showed up to practice the other day. So everybody was like, oh, that's all done. He's going to be playing for them. I think, again, he did not show up at practice today, showed up 10 to 15 minutes late and street clothes, did not practice. And then Zach Taylor said that he spoke too soon on that. So Jamar Chase, oh, man, not looking too good for him. Speaking of let's go through my fantasy team. Why not? We're talking about fantasy. I'm in 3 leagues this year. I have 1 draft early. The commissioner in our league, he goes to school in Florida, so he wanted to do the draft. Before he left, my first round pick at the 7th overall pick, I was gunning for Amon-Ra St. Brown the entire time. I wanted him so bad. I was like, he's consistently a 20-point guy. If I can get him at 7, it's a steal. And he was taken right before me. So I picked Justin Jefferson because I was like, he's the best receiver in the league. I can't let him slip any further than 7. Plus, I was like not comfortable taking anybody else. So I got Justin Jefferson the first round, swung back around. Was thinking about snagging Devon A-Chain, but he got taken before me, I believe. So I took Isaiah Pacheco as my RB1, which is kind of crazy, Isaiah Pacheco. And then James Cook is my other running back. I'm just going to go. Kyler Murray is my quarterback. Took him over Anthony Richardson, Jefferson. Christian Kirk I've had in this league for the past 3 seasons now. He's a really consistent number 2, number 3 wide receiver. I really like him. Jaden Reed's my other receiver. This is a 3 receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex draft. So Jaden Reed's my other wide receiver. Really like him. A lot of people are high on Christian Watson. They're saying he's going to be Jordan Love's number 1 target because everyone's expecting the Packers to take an even bigger leap this year. I'm not. Them and the Texans, I'm not sure about, but Jaden Reed is my wide receiver 3. So for my fantasy team purposes, I hope that he becomes one of the best receivers in the league. And Jordan Love throws him 20 touchdowns this year. My running backs, Isaiah Pacheco, James Cook. Tight end is Dalton Kincaid. My flex as of right now is Gus Edwards. I'm higher on him the most. Jim Harbaugh offense. That's all I can say. You see what it did in Michigan. Blake Corum is the backup on the Rams now. He's going to do phenomenal for them, especially with Kyron Williams being the punt returner now, which is not good for his body. Evan McPherson is my kicker, Detroit defense. And then my bench, I don't like my bench, honestly. I really don't like my bench. Tua is my backup quarterback. Jameson Williams, Trey Benson, high on him. James Conner is known to miss games. I think he has an average of 4 games missed per year. And Benson, I think, is the all-time college football leader in broken tackles. So high on him. Chuba Hubbard, he's a for now guy. He's the starting running back for the Panthers right now. They brought in Deontay Johnson at receiver. I know they're going to try and get Bryce Young more passing, but if Bryce Young struggles, they're going to go to Chuba, and he's going to be the starter until Jonathan Brooks gets back. So I don't know if Chuba Hubbard is going to be the starter for the rest of the year, but you never know. And then Jalen Polk, high on him. think he can be very good. Rookie, second-round pick for the Patriots, developing with Drake May. I think Jacoby Brissett's supposed to be the starting quarterback right now for the Patriots, but I saw he just got injured, but I think they said he was fine. So I believe Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback right now, but it could be Drake May. And Jalen Polk, I think no matter who he has, I think he's going to be really good. And then Darnell Mooney is my last spot on my team. Just another guy. He's the Falcons' second receiver behind Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts and Bijan, but I think Darnell Mooney could be a sneaky, decent bench guy. Mateo's getting elbow surgery. Oh man, that sucks. That's unfortunate. Is he out? I guess he's out for the year. But shout out Jackson Holiday, former number 1 overall pick, son of MLB legend Matt Holliday. Let's look at any news. Guardians beat the Royals today, so now they are in sole possession of first place in the American League Central right now. Royals won the first 2 games, and now Guardians win. So Guardians are still in first place. Let's react to this. The Score updated their MLB MVP rankings. Number 5, National League, Ketel Marte. 5, really. Elly De La Cruz at 4. Oh, man. Same thing happened last year with Elly De La Cruz. Too many people were too high on him. They were saying he was better than he actually was. Elly De La Cruz is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. And he's going to be really, really good. He's already pretty good. He was a 2060 guy? Is that right? 2060? Yeah. 22 homers, 61 stolen bases, batting 265. So, I mean, he's having a really good year, but I can't justify having him over Ketel Marte. Marte has more home runs. 30, he has 8 more home runs. He has 22 more RBIs. And he's batting I just don't know. And Arizona is a better team than Cincinnati. So I don't get how you can justify not having Ketel Marte top 3. That's a lie. I don't know why. Oh, Bryce Harper, not in the top 5. Kind of surprised by that. Marcell Ozuna, 37 home runs, 98 RBIs. Yeah, he's having a really good year. Francisco Lindor, number 2. The notion that MVPs are won in the second half of the season, that is true to an extent. You have to have a good enough first half, though. Bryce Harper had a pretty good first half of the season when he won the 2021 NL MVP. He just had out-of-this-world second half. Didn't even make the All-Star team. Same thing with Jimmy Rollins when he won it. Did not make the All-Star team that year and still ended up winning MVP. Francisco Lindor should have been an All-Star. Pete Alonso should not have been. It should have been Lindor from the Mets. But the notion that Francisco Lindor right now, who's batting 270, a 340 on base, 27 home runs, 78 RBIs, a really good year. Not an MVP caliber season. I mean, MVPs are won in August and September. 337, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs. Yeah, probably the player of the month in the National League for August. But, I mean, the notion that he's the runner-up favorite for the MVP right now, I don't agree with that. He might even have better. Let's compare him and Bryce Harper. Because the fact that Bryce Harper is not in the top 5, did he really have that much of a fall off? I know he fell off a lot from MVP, like neck and neck with Ohtani. Ohtani just went away with it. Bryce Harper really struggled. So Bryce Harper has 1 less home runs. Harper has 9-point better batting average. He has 2 less RBI. So it's close. It's really close. I don't see how you can justify Francisco Lindor being second. It's the Panthers. Offense will be great this year. Defense won't stop anybody. Yeah, they lost Brian Burns for – did they do a sign and trade with the Giants? But you lose your best defensive player that you've had since Luke Kuechly, and I think they got a second-round pick for him, I believe. But who else do you have on that defense? You traded away Dante Jackson, one of your starting cornerbacks, for Deontay Johnson. So you lost Brian Burns. You lost the I just said his name. I'm rambling at this point. Dante Jackson, who's decent, had a little bit of injury problem, but I think they're en route to another pretty bad season. I definitely think they are going to be the last place team in the NFC South, but I'll get into more of my standings predictions in a little bit because I'm going to talk to Tony to confirm this, but I want to come on here, do a little live stream, have all my NFL predictions ready, do the standings predictions, do the playoff predictions, all the awards, not game by game, because that would be too long of an episode to do. So I'm just going to have records, standings, awards, and even playoffs. So going to confirm with Tony in a couple of days. Hopefully I can get that up here. And then Shohei Ohtani, going back to the MVP rankings, he is number one, 41 home runs, 94 RBIs, 100 home runs. And he's a DH. He's not even starting. He's not even pitching this year, which because he had his Tommy John surgery. Will probably be back next year. But, I mean, Shohei Ohtani, unbelievable. Had that discussion earlier about him and Aaron Judge. Just be grateful that you have both of these players in their prime. You get to witness both of these. I wish I got to witness Barry Bonds. If you watched the Pikes Pile episode last week, Tony and Frank had a debate whether or not Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. It's such a tough question because did he cheat? Yes. Did he have a Hall of Fame career before he cheated? Yes. But at the same time, you got to think about it. A lot of guys back then were using steroids, and it grew the game. The commissioner knew that Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were taking steroids. And if you watched, for all you It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia watchers, if you watched the Wade Boggs episode, there's an episode where they drink a bunch of beers on the airplane to try and beat Wade Boggs' record, but it's like a whole baseball themed. They have like a scoreboard and who's in the lead. So, where am I getting at this? Oh, yes. Got caught up in my Sunny, my favorite show of all time. It's just so funny. But man, what was I getting at? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I have a terrible memory sometimes. If I think, the commissioner, yes. So the one guy plays commissioner, and the two people are they're drinking the beers, and then the one starts taking performance enhancement drugs, and the one guy who's acting as the commissioner is like, no, this could be terrible for it, but he's like, you know what? I need some competition because you're dominating right now. It's not interesting. It's at that time baseball was dying, and then boom, gives the steroids to the other guy, and then they both are competing, and it's really they're like, oh yes, this is awesome. So a little bit of comparison, but that's what I have been waiting for from Bryce Harper till past Monday. That big hit would lead that team to win. It was a walk-off in the 10th inning. Yeah, a really great walk-off hit for Bryce Harper the other day. It was game one, so a really, really huge that at bat. You see how today's game went, an even bigger reason as to why that was a massive walk-off, not just a walk-off hit, but a walk-off win for the Phillies, because they at least win the series now, and boom, you lose today. So that was definitely a huge game, especially going up against the Braves tomorrow. Charlie Morton, 7-7 with a 4.24 ERA. Phillies have seen him a lot in his career. Going up against Chris Sanchez, 9-9 with a 3.51 ERA. Throwback Thursday. I'll be here live tomorrow at 5:30. Gonna have the powder blues up. I'll be wearing the powder blue. We'll be doing, as always, the keys to the game. Favorite moments against the Braves in Citizens Bank Park. And the triple play, as always, we've been hitting, so make sure you're following that. And we'll also have a Throwback Thursday moment of the day. We'll see what we can talk about then. So 40 minutes. So a really long one tonight. Was kind of just rambling towards the end of that. So appreciate you sticking with me. Appreciate all the comments. So thank you all for watching. As always, been Tyler Mroz for Heat Ratio Sports. See you tomorrow here live for Phillies pregame at 5:30 p.m. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. And as always, stay fresh, my friends. Oh, wait, not loading. Okay, so let's do this again. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe and stay fresh, my friends.